Imagine being just 16 years old, fighting for your life against cancer, and trying to find a way to pay for treatment that could save you. That's exactly what happened to Emily Carter. She wasn't rich, she didn't have connections, but she had something else: talent. So she started selling her artwork on the streets of Los Angeles. But one day, someone stopped by her little stand who changed everything. Someone nobody expected. Woody Harrelson. Yes, that Woody Harrelson, the Oscar-nominated actor known for movies like True Detective and The Hunger Games. What he did next shocked everyone, including Emily herself. And trust me, when you hear what happened, you'll see why this story went viral overnight. But before we get to that jaw-dropping moment, let me take you back to where it all began. Because this isn't just a story about fame or fortune, it's about hope, kindness, and how one small act can change lives forever. Emily Carter wasn't your typical teenager. At 16, most kids are worrying about school dances, social media likes, or what college might be like. But Emily, her biggest worry was whether she'd live long enough to graduate high school. Diagnosed with leukemia at just 14, her life became a blur of hospital rooms, chemotherapy sessions, and endless medical bills. Her family did everything they could to keep her spirits up. They sold their car, held fundraisers, even started a GoFundMe page. But no matter how hard they tried, the money always seemed to run out before the treatments did. By the time Emily turned 16, her parents were working double shifts just to keep her in treatment. It broke her heart to see them struggle so much. She wanted to help. She needed to help. That's when Emily remembered something she hadn't thought about in years: her love for drawing. As a kid, she used to sketch pictures of animals, landscapes, and imaginary worlds. Art was her escape, her happy place. So one day, while lying in a hospital bed hooked up to IVs, she grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper and started drawing again. Before long, those doodles turned into paintings, bright, colorful pieces filled with emotion and hope. When her doctor finally gave her permission to spend a few hours outside the hospital each week, Emily decided to try selling her artwork. She set up a small table on the busy streets of Los Angeles, near Santa Monica Pier. A bright yellow sign read, "Artwork for sale, helping fund my chemo." Passers-by couldn't miss it. Some stopped to admire her work. Others dropped coins or small bills into her jar. Every sale brought her closer to affording another round of treatment. But little did Emily know, her quiet corner of the city was about to become the center of attention. Because fate had something extraordinary planned for her. And it came in the form of an unexpected visitor. It was a typical Saturday afternoon in Santa Monica. The sun was shining, tourists were everywhere, and Emily sat behind her little table, nervously rearranging her paintings. She wasn't used to being the center of attention, but today felt different. More people than usual seemed to stop and look at her art. Some even took pictures with their phones. One man approached her table and picked up a painting, a vibrant sunset over an ocean horizon. "This is incredible," he said, smiling warmly. "How much?" Emily hesitated for a second, then replied softly, $20. The man handed her a 50 instead. "Keep the change," he said with a wink, before walking away. Moments like these kept Emily going. Each compliment, each sale, reminded her that people cared. But just as she started to feel hopeful, something unusual happened. A tall figure appeared at the edge of her vision. At first she didn't recognize him. He looked like any other tourist, wearing sunglasses and a casual t-shirt. But when he stepped closer and bent down to examine her artwork, Emily froze. It was Woody Harrelson. Her heart skipped a beat. Was this real? Was Woody Harrelson really standing in front of her tiny makeshift art gallery? He picked up one of her pieces, a bold abstract painting filled with swirls of blue and gold, and studied it intently. Then, without saying a word, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a $100 bill. "This is amazing," he said, his voice warm and sincere. "You have real talent, kid." Emily blinked, unsure of what to say. "Thank you," she stammered. But Woody wasn't done yet. Not even close. Woody Harrelson didn't just buy one painting, he bought 3. And he didn't stop there. After handing Emily the $100 bill, he turned to the small crowd that had gathered around her table. Tourists and locals alike were watching, curious about what was happening. "Hey everyone," Woody called out, his voice carrying over the chatter of the pier. "This young lady here has more talent in her pinky finger than most artists have in their entire careers. Not only that, but she's using her art to fund her cancer treatments. How incredible is that?" The crowd murmured in agreement, some nodding, others pulling out their phones to snap photos. Emily felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. She wasn't used to this kind of attention, especially not from someone as famous as Woody Harrelson. "And you know what?" Woody continued, his tone shifting to something more serious. "We can all do our part to help her. So, if you've got a few bucks to spare, pick up a painting. Trust me, they're worth every penny." With that, Woody stepped aside, leaving Emily stunned as people rushed to her table. Within minutes, her paintings were flying off the display. Strangers handed her cash, 20s, 50s, even hundreds. Some bought multiple pieces, while others simply dropped money into her jar without taking anything in return. By the end of the afternoon, Emily's table was almost empty. Her heart swelled with gratitude, but she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Later that evening, as she counted the money she'd made, an amount far greater than she'd ever dreamed of, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from someone she didn't recognize. The subject line read, "Check this out." Curious, Emily clicked on the link. What she saw next made her jaw drop. Someone had filmed Woody Harrelson at her table and posted the video online. The caption read, "When Hollywood meets heroism, Woody Harrelson supports teen artist battling cancer." Within hours, the video went viral. News outlets picked up the story, sharing clips of Woody praising Emily's talent and urging people to support her cause. Social media exploded with comments, shares and donations pouring in from strangers across the globe. For the first time in months, Emily allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to look up. But deep down, she knew the battle wasn't over yet. The viral video changed everything, for better and for worse. Within days, Emily's GoFundMe page skyrocketed past its goal, raising enough money to cover her treatments, and then some. Messages of support flooded in from all over the world. People shared stories of their own battles with cancer, calling Emily an inspiration. Artists sent her paintings to add to her collection. Celebrities tweeted about her courage, and local news stations invited her to share her journey on live TV. But fame has a way of shining light on things you'd rather keep hidden. One morning, as Emily scrolled through her notifications, she came across a comment that made her blood run cold. Someone had posted a screenshot of her medical records online, claiming they proved she didn't actually have cancer. The post quickly gained traction, with trolls piling on, accusing her of faking her illness for attention and money. Emily felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. How could this happen? Who would do such a thing? She hadn't asked for any of this. She just wanted to survive. Her parents were devastated. "We should have been more careful," her mom said, tears streaming down her face. "People are cruel, Emily. We should have known this might happen." For a moment, it seemed like all the progress Emily had made was crumbling. Donations slowed to a trickle, and hateful comments drowned out the voices of support. Even Woody Harrelson's initial act of kindness started to feel tainted. What if people thought he'd been duped too? But then, something remarkable happened. Woody saw the accusations against Emily and decided to step in again. This time, he didn't just buy art or make a speech. He went straight to the source. Using his connections in Hollywood, he arranged for Emily to meet with one of the top oncologists in the country. Together, they filmed a transparent, heartfelt interview where Emily talked openly about her diagnosis, her treatments, and the challenges she faced daily. "I'm not doing this for attention," Emily said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "I'm doing this because I want to live. If sharing my story helps even one person feel less alone, then it's worth it." The interview aired on national television, silencing the doubters and reigniting the wave of support. But Woody didn't stop there. He announced he was hosting a charity auction featuring Emily's artwork, with all proceeds going directly toward her medical expenses. Celebrities, collectors, and fans alike bid outrageous sums for her pieces. By the end of the night, the total raised was staggering, a number so large it guaranteed Emily access to the best care possible. As the final bid closed and the crowd erupted in applause, Emily looked out at the sea of faces cheering for her. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, she really was going to be okay. The charity auction wasn't just a financial success, it was a turning point for Emily. The overwhelming support reminded her that kindness often outweighs cruelty, even in the darkest moments. With the funds raised, she could finally focus on her recovery without constantly worrying about how to pay for treatment. Her doctors were optimistic, saying her progress was better than expected thanks to the new therapies she could now afford. But as life began to stabilize, Emily realized something else had shifted inside her. She no longer saw herself as just a sick girl struggling to survive. She was an artist, a fighter, and someone who had inspired thousands of people around the world. One evening, as she sat in her hospital room sketching a new painting, Woody Harrelson surprised her with another visit. He walked in holding a canvas wrapped in brown paper. "I brought you something," he said, handing it to her. Curious, Emily unwrapped it to reveal a stunning portrait of her. It was signed by dozens of celebrities who had attended the auction, each adding their own touch to the piece. At the bottom, Woody had written, "To Emily, whose light shines brighter than any storm." Tears filled her eyes as she hugged him tightly. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "For everything." Woody smiled. "You're the one who deserves thanks, kid. You've shown the world what true strength looks like." As he left, Emily stared at the portrait, feeling a mix of emotions she couldn't quite put into words: hope, gratitude, determination, but also a question lingering in the back of her mind. What came next? Would she return to school once she was well enough? Would she pursue art full-time? Or would she use her platform to help others facing similar battles? Whatever path she chose, one thing was certain: Emily Carter was no longer just a girl selling artwork to fund her chemo. She was a symbol of resilience, proof that even in the face of unimaginable challenges, there's always a way forward. And yet, as the camera pans out of her hospital room, showing her painting late into the night, you can't help but wonder, what masterpiece will Emily create next? And how many more lives will she touch along the way? If you want to follow Emily's journey, or see her latest artwork, check out the links below. Hit that like button if this story inspired you, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible true stories that remind us all of the power of hope, kindness, and second chances. Until next time, take care, and never underestimate the impact of one small act of courage.